You thought I was a creeper. You've been bamboozled. This is, in fact, Timeless Traveler. Welcome, everybody. This is another installment of Timeless Traveler's tutorials, and as you can tell from behind me, we're going to be going over a creeper farm. Now, this creeper farm is going to be using the Rufus Atticus method. We are going to be doing 7 32 by 32 platforms, and we are using ice to help transfer surface spawns, because by default the maximum amount of cave spawns that we can have at one time is 8, meaning we can only ever have 8 creepers spawning at a time. However, if we design it to where it includes surface spawns, we can get more creepers that way. This design is based upon, of course, like I mentioned, Rufus Atticus. He created an insane creeper farm that runs on the simulation distance 6. However, that design does not work for us on Sim 4. I'm focusing on Sim 4 because I play on an SMP Realm server doing timeless adventures. So I try to find farms that work for the sim distance 4, and hopefully this one will work for you too. This yields about 24 stacks of gunpowder per hour. Let's take a look here in our chest. This is about how much you're going to get. Almost a shulker box. Late game, you'll be measuring in shulker boxes most likely. So that is a decent amount of gunpowder per hour. And we get plenty of levels. We get about 40 levels per hour. Plenty of experience for you to repair your tools while you AFK and collect gunpowder. Now, just to make sure, as I mentioned, this is Rufus Atticus's design. Well, he designed the Simulation 6 farm and then provided specifications for people to build one that works for Sim 4. So I took that advice and I created a farm based off of his suggestion. So keep that in mind. All the credit goes to him. I simply made it visual. Okay, and then we're going to go over how to put it together. If you want to see, if you are running Sim Distance 6 or higher, take a look down below in the description. I'm going to be including his insane farm down below if you want to run like 100+ stacks per hour. I think his was like 70 to 100 stacks per hour. It's a lot. It is a lot. That will be down below in the description if you're running Sim Distance 6 or higher. Now we are using the water Trident killer method because we want to kill them as quickly as possible. Because we do have a limited amount of creepers that can spawn in at a time, we do not want to waste any time removing the creepers and keeping the mob cap down so they can keep spawning. That is why we have the AFK spot down here and the Trident killer all the way up here. Shortly after they land out of their collection area, they get killed very quickly. And then from there, their XP and gunpowder drops down. We stand here, collect the XP, and have the gunpowder collect up with the hoppers right underneath these trapdoors. Of course, if you are donning a looting 3 sword, rates are going to be significantly higher. Without looting 3, you're looking at about, a third of a shulker box, about 10, 12 stacks. A little less than that. I'd say like 8 to 10 stacks on a good day. So by this point, you're very late game. You've got a lot of resource. So you're going to have looting 3, most likely. Okay, so you keep that with you, and you will be able to produce that 24 stacks of gunpowder per hour. Now, you don't necessarily need to chunk a line. We only have a 4x4 of redstone. Technically, this goes out a little bit further than a 4x4. But the purpose of chunk aligning with this farm is that if you don't want this to just shut off whenever you leave and come back into the loaded chunk area, then you want to chunk align it. So for example, like right now, if we just have it run and say I leave, these chunks unload, I log off the world or whatever, I come back on, and while this is all set to run, it will actually, when you come back, it will be off. And then, so what you would do around that is you could, if you don't chunk align this, all you have to do, so say this thing isn't actually going at all, we will, let's put that right here, right? You come back into the world, it's not running, just go ahead and put a button here to reset it, and it will go back to normal. If you don't want to go through all that, then just go ahead and chunk align and set this up right in the center of your chunk, and it will run forever. And of course, there is going to be a full materials list down below in the description for your convenience, so don't forget to check that out. And I think we have everything covered. So if you are all ready, let's go ahead and get on with the tutorial. So for those that don't have access to the chunk visualizer resource packs that are out there on Windows 10, so if you're using this on like console or Switch, go ahead, take a look down at below in the description for the website known as Chunk Base. It will help you find your chunks. And so what we want to do here is we want to get to the center of a chunk. So here we go. We're on the very first chunk. We want to go, in my case, I want to go to X7, Z7. That's going to be the one center part for our chunk. Right here, we have the 7, 7, 8, 8, all that stuff, right? That is going to be our 2-block center. That is the very center of the chunk. That is where the creepers are going to drop down into. So we actually don't want to stay at ground level. We are going to come all the way up. Now, a lot of people, there's a few different ways that we can set up a creeper farm. Some people will say, 80 blocks above the ground, stay in a cold ocean biome, all that stuff. As long as no mobs spawn, as long as there is a completely 0% chance of any mob other than the creepers spawning, go for whatever you feel is going to be best for you, okay? If you don't happen to have a cold biome nearby, then you're not going to go like hundreds or so blocks just to find one, depending on where you're at in the game, how adventurous you are. So I'm just going to go about 100 blocks above the ground, and we're going to set up a 2x2 platform right in the very center of our chunk. And there we go. We got ourselves our 2x2 right in the center of the chunk. Go ahead and we're going to place a chest here. Now, I'm not going to go any further with our storage. I'm just going to place go ahead and place your trapdoors right here because we're going to AFK right here. Okay. But anyway, so I'm not going to go any further with the storage because it is entirely up to you and how you want your storage set up. But essentially, I'm putting a chest here, and we're going to actually get rid of these temporary blocks. And you want to place hoppers here going into your chest. And then we're going to place trapdoors here. Now, the purpose of the trapdoors here is so the XP doesn't get stuck right in here. So we got a little drop inside the hopper, and XP can get stuck there even if you are right here. So we just kind of have that there to make sure that it is a much smoother transition towards you. From here, you may want to kind of just extend your platform out. It's really up to you and how you want it set up. We're just gonna, so I can move around, we're gonna kind of build that up just a bit like that, okay? Now, you want to crouch down, and we're actually going to surround the area, surround the hoppers with a bit of glass, just like this, okay? Now, we're going to build this up. We're going to keep stacking up. We're going to give ourselves a nice glass pillar. Now, of course, you don't have to use glass for any of this. It just, I think it looks nice. So you can go down to the materials list and replace the amount of glass with whatever building block you want to use, okay? So we're going to build this up from here, from the ground level. We want to build up by 19 total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. All right. Go ahead, and I will see you in just a moment. We're going to want to fill in this tube or this drop chute until we have our 19 on all sides. All right, so now we will have our glass pillar of 19. This is just to kind of indicate this is where the collection pad begins. So from the top, we're going to go down 1 and 2. Okay, go ahead and break down about 3. You may need to break out more just so you have a bit of moving space, but as far as installing our Trident killer, this is the space that you will need, right? So now we're here, about 14 blocks from our AFK spot. We got a gap of 3 right here. We're going to go ahead and place down the powered rails in all 4 corners. Go ahead and put your observers facing. They have to be watching the powered rails to detect updates in those. And I forgot a solid block. There we go. So we need the observer to power the block, which will then power the powered rail. Observer detects that power and just repeats the signal over and over. By now, I think people know how Trident killers work. Okay. So we also, let's see here. Try to squeeze in here. Go ahead and place down your pistons on top of these solid blocks. The solid blocks are what's getting powered, and then those are going to power our pistons. All right. We can fill in this with glass or solid block, whatever you wish to use. Now, before you fill in that last spot, let's go ahead and place our glass panes here. That's going to hold the creepers, let them get killed, while also simultaneously dropping XP and loot. Once we're done with that, we can go ahead and get your impaling sword in there. Give about 1 or 2. Doesn't matter. It will kill them pretty quick. So you should be good either way. Now we're going to go ahead and fill this in real quick. There we go. And now whatever side you want to use, it does not matter. Just pick a piston. Go ahead and waterlog it. And then place a trap door or any solid block or whatever. Trapdoor is just kind of, it's small, it's out of the way. And that will keep our water there. And that's going to help activate the impaling on our Trident, right? So that's pretty much it for the Trident killer. If you want, you can go ahead and we're going to prime it real quick. So I'm going to put a lever here. And then go ahead and let go like this. Now, if you don't want to constantly hear the noise while you're building, go ahead and just keep that lever, turn that off, and it'll just stay like that in the meantime. And as I said, if you are chunk aligning and you want it to just constantly run nonstop without you having to worry about anything, then make sure it's chunk aligned, and you can just, when you're done, go ahead and get rid of this, and it will run for you. If you decided that you don't want a chunk align, I would highly recommend you place a button here. You load up the world, and it's not working. Go ahead and give that button a quick press and it will go back to its business. Last thing you're going to want to do, go ahead and, of course, fill that back in. Now that we're not building up our Trident killer, it's all complete. We can fill in that gap. We can work on our collection pad, okay? So we got about 3 layers to work with here. The first layer is going to be an 18 by 18. So we have 2 here. So we want to go out by an additional 8 total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go ahead and do this on all 4 sides. Just like that. And then you're going to have yourself a plus sign. And then once you're done with that, you're going to want to, of course, fill this in. And then you're going to have a nice 18 by 18 platform of glass or whatever block you are using for your build. Now that we have our 18 by 18, we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring this up a little bit more. So go ahead and go up 1 with a temporary, bring that across. And in total, you're going to want to go out by an extra 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then just bring this all the way around a total of 7 times. And I will see you when that is done. All right, we have our additional ring of 7 going all the way across. Now we just want to bring this up 1 more. Go ahead and make 1 final ring. Well, not 1 more. We still have a couple more to go, but as far as where all of the water is going to be placed, this is pretty much it. Go ahead and take this ring all the way around just 1 time. Perfect. Should have an additional ring right here. Now we are going to go out just again, but this time we're setting up the walls. Okay, so this right here, all right, we're going to go up by 1 and 2 in total. So 2 more rings. This time they're at the same dimension, just they're just stacked. So go ahead, build yourself those last 2 rings and we will move forward. All right, we have our additional walls set up. Now in each corner, I just want you to place a block in every spot. This is going to help for our water collection. All right. Once you have that set up, go ahead and place one in all the corners and along here. Now, before you place one down, make sure that we avoid this side and this side, okay? If you need to, go ahead and place down some temporaries so you don't accidentally place a source here and here. The reason being, if we put sources here and here on all the corners, then it's going to extend how far those water sources go out. It's going to fill all this up. It's going to create a massive, massive mess, okay? So let me just reset the water here. So keep that in mind. Avoid the spaces right next to the corners. Other than that, bring that all the way across, skipping here, place it down, bring it all the way across, skip there, place it in the corner, and then I think one more time should do it. Like we missed a spot or two. We got one more. Make sure we skip that. Bring it across. And there we go. And as you can see, this goes perfectly. Oh, we missed one. As you can see, we've got it perfectly focused on our 2x2 area. Now begins the very, very fun and exciting process of setting up our spawn pads, okay? So go ahead and in whatever corner you want for now, place your solid block right above this water source, okay? Right in that corner. We're going to build another ring and we're going to go all the way around, making sure that this is covering all of your water sources. All right. Now, by the time you're done with this, this should be a perfect 32 by 32 ring. And we will move on with the next step when I see you there. Just to clarify, this ring is actually 34 by 34. I apologize if that got anyone confused. This area that we're going to be building within will be 32 by 32. All right. So our next step is we want to get out our fence posts or fences, and you're going to go up by 2 and bring this all the way around that ring at both wide levels. So I will see you when we have ourselves a bit more of a cage set up. Now, because mobs spawn in the northwest corner of a block, where we start our pattern is crucial when it comes to knowing our cardinal directions. So, for example, don't follow along here. We're going to have a solid strip here, right? And this strip is going to be on either the north or the west side of your build. That way we have more space for them to spawn on, okay? So let's go over how to find your north and west. If you have your coordinates on, if you look up in the top left, you'll see all these numbers changing around. The first and third one is our X and Z. X goes east and west. Our Z goes north and south. For those who don't know, going negative on the first number is going to be west. Going positive will be east. On the Z, going positive is south. Going negative is north. If you don't understand those, go ahead and pull out your map. Northwest is going to be the top left corner, okay? If you don't have a map or you just want to use a different method, go ahead and bust out your pumpkin or jack-o'-lantern, and the stem always points in the northwest direction, okay? So making sure that we're over here on the northwest side of your build, we're going to lay that first strip along the side just like that, okay? And then from here, we're going to alternate. So place one here, skip one, keep that going. And this is going to get very repetitive because we're going to do this about, 7 times total, And then you want to bring a solid strip all the way across. Now, this is a little bit different than other designs. Instead of starting here and skipping here like that, we're actually going to alternate this pattern here. So the solid strips are going to be the same. The alternating spaces are going to be offset by 1. So we're actually going to skip here, place 1, skip here, place 1. And you get the idea. We're going to keep this going until we reach, the other side. And then after you do the alternating offset, just top it off with a solid strip all the way across. So I will see you when that is complete. All right, now you should have your grid set up with the offset just like this. Every other space, we have that all set up. And now begins the extra super fun part of this build that will not take a long chunk of your day. Um, so we want to get out the buttons, and starting here in this corner, that same corner where we started the strip, place one every other, just like this. And just like the gaps, we are going to offset our spacing or positioning for the button. So instead of putting another one here, we're actually going to put one starting here and just keep that going. Okay. All the way across. And we're going to skip this. Everywhere we're only placing them on our solid strips, you'll notice. Okay. So anywhere where we have the gaps, don't worry about buttons there. We're going to focus on placing them right here. Everywhere we have a solid strip, make sure we offset the positioning. So bring that all the way across, and I will see you when that is done. And after a few minutes of just non-stop button placing, you should have something that looks lovely like this. Making sure that the button placement is offset all the way across, just like so. Now that we've spider-proofed it, meaning that the spiders will never spawn here because of the positioning of the gaps and the buttons, we now want to make it so mobs will pathfind over these gaps. So here comes another very fun and exciting process and part of the build. You're going to want to get your trapdoors, and in every single gap, go ahead and place them in and make sure that they are facing down. That way mobs, of course, can't fall through. So I will see you when that's done. All right, so that was 1 out of 7 platforms. Very, very exciting. And even more exciting is, so before we actually finish up the tower and have our 7 platforms, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up another platform and show you how to do how to make sure that it is creepers only that spawn here. Okay, so I'm going to just clone this platform, everything that we have built. I'm just going to I'm just going to bring this up just like that. Okay, so we're going to come down here. Yeah. All right. And with your trapdoors, so now mobs are going to spawn here if the light conditions are right. Okay, so we want to make sure that we don't have zombies and we don't want to have skeletons spawning. How do we do that? We put trapdoors here. So everywhere that there is a gap, you're going to want to go ahead and place a trapdoor. So here, 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 here. Bring that all the way across, of course. And then by the time you get to the next row, you go. I mean, I do 2 at a time by the time we get to this point, but it's really whatever's easier for you. Just make sure that we leave none of these spawnable spaces uncovered with a trapdoor. Otherwise, you're going to get a little mix of a zombie or skeleton in your farm. And look, we already have a creeper. I'm just, just kidding. Gotcha. It's actually me. Bet you didn't know. But let me know down below in the comments and hit the like button if you're having fun so far. So what we want to do, so you'll notice it's a bit hard to see and it's a bit cluttered, but this is the perfect breeding ground for creepers. Look at this. We got slightly less. We got 1 7/8 tall of a block space, which is the perfect height for creepers. No spiders are going to spawn here. No skeletons or zombies are going to spawn. This is perfect, and they're all trapped. They're not going anywhere. We're going to go straight down here and, get killed. So here's the thing. We have done 1 platform. We have done 2 platforms. What I need from you is a total of 6 platforms just like this. Okay? I will see you when you have done this a total of 6 times. All right, now that we have our 6 platforms set up, we have everything covered for our cave spawn. From your AFK spot, let's know it's a little dark right now. But from your AFK spot, you should have just enough space. So here we're at 100, and right here, this is pretty much the end of it, 42 to 100. Any further, one more platform, and they will not spawn. So this is perfectly set. We have our 6 platforms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now the 7th platform is going to be designed differently because we want our surface spawn. So you want to keep the perimeter the same, or you cannot, it doesn't matter. Just for uniformity, we're going to use smooth stone along to match all of this, okay? Now the inside, where all of our spawning platforms and spawn spaces are, you're going to want to use ice, okay? And this is going to allow, because these are transparent blocks, but they are still spawnable blocks, it will allow surface spawns to spawn down here. And we're actually going to use the major chunk of our roof. We're going to use ice as well. So go ahead on your 7th platform, fill this in, set it up exactly as before, except the inside you're going to be using ice, not blue ice, not packed ice, because those are solid blocks. We can't transfer surface spawn. Make sure this is regular ice, and of course don't light it up so your ice doesn't melt. Then once you have that, we're going to create our roof. So again, with the ice, keeping it in here, we're going to bring this all the way around, fill in this entire space again. I'm going to just use a quick command, get the job done a little bit quicker. So you'll notice this entire inside will have our regular ice. This is going to be our roof. It's going to lower the light level for mobs here. This is now low enough for our creepers to start spawning. Once you have that in, go ahead and place your perimeter blocks all the way around. Again, I'm going to speed up the process with a bit of command. Okay. From there, you're going to actually repeat this process. So you're going to come up, bring this around one more time. Same thing with your perimeter. Okay. And once again, I'm going to speed this up real quick with a bit of a command. Perfect. So by the time you're done, your roof should start to look a bit more like this. Now, here comes the fun part. We're almost there, everybody. We are almost there. This is the final stretch, okay? From here, we're going to come out by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Should be right here. You're going to do the same thing all the way over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. From here, you want to bring this all the way around. Give yourself your perimeter. You should be right in line with that other corner. There we go. Connect this all up, and of course, fill it all in. And once again, we're going to speed things up with a bit of a command. There we go. We have ourselves our roof. Now, the last thing we have to do before this is ready, everyone, we just have to button it up. Literally just cover the entire surface in buttons. Once you're done with this, you pretty much have your creeper farm, and then we're going to go into the commands to test for how many creepers we have. So I will see you in just a moment. All right, everybody, let me know if you're having fun down below in the comments, and hit that like button just to make sure. Let me know if you're having fun putting this together. I know it's very tedious, but we're done now for the most part, okay? You have all of your buttons, you have your 2 layers of ice, you've got your, this is all going to be surface spawns because we have the transparent blocks on top. The double layer of ice gives us a low enough light level. The layer below that will also be surface spawn. Then everything below this layer is going to be our cave spawn. So we have higher rates, and we have this set up. It'll kill them as quick as possible. I went ahead and just turned that on for now. Once you come back down here, creepers are going to begin spawning if you are in any difficulty other than peaceful, of course. So we are the closest that we can be for mobs to start spawning. Now, before we do that, I'm going to show you the commands to be able to see how many creepers you have in your area. So first we need to create a scoreboard, okay? So we're going to do scoreboard objectives. We're going to add the scoreboard. We're going to name it creepers, okay? Exactly like this if you are copying the commands that I'm going to show soon. And then just the default setting, dummy, okay? We now have a scoreboard set up. We want to be able to display it. So we're going to do scoreboard again, players. We're going to, objectives. And we're going to do set display. And wherever you want to do it, I think sidebar is not as annoying. And then we're going to do specify what scoreboard. So creepers, just like that. And you will see creepers is right there. Now, we want to add in our repeating command block. Go ahead and pause this wherever you need, take screenshots. Scoreboard, players, set for everyone. Creepers, 0. It's going to constantly put it down to 0. And then it's going to feed into a chain command block. So whenever execute at E type equals creeper, whenever there is a creeper present, wherever they are, it's going to add 1 to the creeper's scoreboard. Okay. Now that we have the scoreboard created and it's displayed, we can turn it on and you'll see that it pulls up my name and it gives me a number counter. Now let's go ahead and let the fun part begin. Go ahead and turn on mob spawning. And we're going to start seeing that number change. There we go. We already have 1. And the most that I've been able to see it come up to is about 11. So it's not too bad. We usually have a decent supply of creepers pretty much at all times. So XP, loot, there we go. We're already getting our gunpowder, already getting our XP. And if you take a look at that number counter, it usually from my testing, it never reaches 0, unless of course you're outside of the AFK spot. But you're always going to see a number there on the counter. You're going to see creepers pretty much regularly being slaughtered, and you're going to get that XP. And most importantly, that beautiful, beautiful gunpowder. Now, if you want to be able to turn this on and off, whether or not you have this chunk aligned or not, for whatever reason, what we're going to do is we're going to set up a series of NOT gates, also known as a torch tower. And we're going to place 1, 2, 3 from your AFK spot. And then we're going to alternate all the way until we get to here. All right. Then go ahead and place down your torches, creating your series of NOT gates or inverters. Okay. Go ahead and get rid of that lever. We don't need it anymore. We can come down here and you will be able to turn this on and off all the way from down here if you want. This is optional. You don't have to. It's not going to change anything. If it's chunk aligned, it will just constantly run. If it is not chunk aligned, then this may be helpful. And if it's not chunk aligned, you can also just slap a button here instead of a lever. So whenever you show up and it is not going, just give it a quick little reset and then let it go on with its business. And of course, like I mentioned before, if you want to maximize your rates even further and get that 22, 24 stacks of gunpowder per hour, make sure you have a looting 3 sword. Doesn't matter what sword it is. It could be netherite, it could be wooden. As long as it has looting 3, you will maximize your rates. And that's going to be it for today, everybody. Thank you all again so much for watching. I am Timeless Traveler, and this was Timeless Traveler's Tutorials, a simulation for distant creeper farm. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you got something out of it. Let me know down below in the comments section, and slap a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know if you got something out of this video, if you learned some new way to farm creepers, and if you just enjoyed this type of design. And if you enjoy tutorials, also don't forget to leave a like just for that as well. You can also take a look at my tutorials playlist. I have a decent amount of videos set up so far of a few different things that you can slap together, a couple farms, and a few different cool contraptions that you can add to your world as well. And also, for those wondering when my own personal creeper farm design is coming out, the Creeper Crucible like 2.0, I can't give you an exact date yet. I am going to be using the Rufus Atticus concept and kind of configuring the design a bit more to set up so that way I can have large amounts of gunpowder and of course creeper conversion, and of course make it look really, really massive and industrial and cool, because that's also important when it comes to big farms, is they have to look cool. So be patient with me. I have spent a lot of time trying to design and test, and I've been failing a lot of those designs, and I am coming up on some new ideas. So that is on its way. So be ready for that. And so other than that, thank you all again so much for watching. You all take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video.